Wow.
I'll say this. That's a damn good song. I don't know who wrote that song and who the lead singer is, but he's a real damn good lead singer, and that's a catchy ass song. The only thing that can bring a smile to my face on such a shitty ass day. Hey,
Oh,
hey,
you used the same word Aaron Rodgers
hey,
used.
oh, hey, you gotta give me the show. You gotta give me the share.
You always have the share, I think. All you gotta do
You
is
gotta
go to
give me-
that.
You gotta give me the
one.
share. You gotta give me the share. Okay, don't share it just yet, but I'll,
No.
we'll get there real quick. Oh wait, I
Yeah.
don't know if I shared. I didn't think I shared audio. Let me try
That's
that
all right.
again.
That's all right. Just try again. We all get second chances. I mean, we all get second chances in the red zone. We all get second chances to, actually we get four
Share
downs to
audio.
just throw it every
Share
play
audio.
at the end of the game, which makes so much sense when you have 2 timeouts and like a minute to go and you're down there. I mean, fantastic, right?
Just real quick. Here you go.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Here we go. Let's
Here we
bring
go.
them up. We got something here to bring up.
Here we go. Listen to this.
Oh.
And on like the ones you had on those interceptions, what happened with your own play today? Would you say?
You had some shitty throws for sure.
There you go. That's all I needed. That's finally.
First time he's ever.
It only took 5 weeks of losses in a row. A terrible season where they shouldn't even won half the 2 of the games they did win. And a lot of it was because of shitty throws. And finally, after week 9 of shitty throws, he finally says, yeah, some shitty throws. Finally.
You know what's really interesting about that, my friend?
What's that?
As he did say that right off the top, and I think it was strategic so he wouldn't catch as much heat and wouldn't get as many questions about how bad his play was, right? So it's Aaron Rodgers. Everything is done calculated. His good friend AJ Hawk has told you how calculated Aaron is. So this was calculated as well. He went out and played a terrible game. Underthrew Samori Toure multiple times, including for what should have been a touchdown, a pass that got knocked away, which was a touchdown. Like I want to see the game review on that, Ben. I want to be one of the.
That was Amari Rodgers.
No, the one the deep one that the guy just knocked away.
That was Amari Rodgers.
Toure beat everybody. No, it was Toure. He beat everybody. He's wide open. The line protection is good. What more do you want? There's one guy who didn't.
Oh, I'm thinking of the interception.
Yeah, no, this was just the one that was knocked away. That should have been a touchdown. Also, other plays that were just, but I want to see that one because I want Packers fans to look at everything and say, okay, this guy did. Like, you're going to try to blame receivers. You're going to try to blame offensive linemen. You're going to blame the coach. No. Everything worked on this play. Everybody did everything they should have done, except the quarterback underthrew the ball drastically, and that's why it didn't work. But that quarterback gets paid crap loads of money, is never at fault.
Even now he's not at fault.
And Ben has been showing you, we have been showing you, other people have tried to show you, like we talk about it, but then we also show you the plays. And you still, and a bunch of them, I get it. A lot of people online, Aaron Rodgers getting a lot of comments throughout the game. Oh, who's he going to blame for all this stuff and all this sort of stuff? I get it. So more people are finally seeing it and finally understanding and finally recognizing. It's finally resonating. But there's still defenders out there. There's still deflectors out there. There's still people who want to say, oh, it's the head coach and this and that. And, oh, yeah, he's part of it. But, oh, yeah, it's everything. It's everything, Ben. Everything's a problem. Well, I beg to differ. I have number 7, number 83, number 50, number 55, and number 95 in limited action. All rookies who I think are making some damn good plays and contributing to this team for the first time that we've seen a group of rookies like this contribute. And that's with our big receiver rookie who keeps getting hurt all the time. Although actually in the plays he was in, he was doing some good things. So I'm encouraged by all these rookies. And it's not everybody. Those guys are doing pretty damn good. And I'm sick of the blame now just being all spread out. But when the win, oh my God, number 12, he's amazing, right? Okay. Anyway.
Did you just say you're encouraged?
I'm encouraged by these rookies. Yeah, I am.
Did you know they just lost their 5th game in a row?
I do know that, but I have everybody telling me, not everybody. I have some of the Rodgers people still saying how, oh well, I hope just wait till he's gone. Look how bad it's going to be. I don't think so. I like these rookies. I
You
like
do
some of
know
these.
you do know that he's under contract for 2 more years after this at least.
No. He's retiring after this, Ben. He's not going to
Well,
come
okay,
back.
when he retires,
He's that
then we have
one
a
thing.
huge cap hit on our season
I get it, but those guys are still
for
there.
next year.
Those guys are still there. All those guys are still on the team next year.
Okay,
All right. And
but we can't pay for anybody else because we'll have such a
That's
huge
fine.
cap hit.
that's fine. We just got to keep drafting impactful guys like this and put them on the field. Maybe we'll turn into one of those teams that are the opposite of what the Packers have been forever, where you never play your rookies and we play a crap ton of young guys. And we're just like, get those young guys out there and see if they can play. Let's go. Because it works for some other teams. Well, we had another rookie today make a bunch of big plays against us. Actually, a number of them. Two tight ends that cost their first touchdown of their careers. We had a safety who was in there because of injury, Joseph, who was making a bunch of plays, led the team in tackles, picked off Aaron Rodgers 2 times, knocked away some balls. That guy's a rookie too. So maybe it's time to quit being so scared of change and quit thinking like what you know is good. What you know is, oh, we know this and we know, and we're told this is good, and we've been trained to think this is good. He's the best. We paid him like he's the best. On Friday night, after the radio show was done, we went through statistics. Statistics show you he's one of the worst. He's one of the worst of all the starting quarterbacks who've gotten a bunch of snaps.
He's 29th best.
One of the worst.
There's only
Guys-
3 quarterbacks worse than him. And
guys
actually, after this
above-
game, he's going to fall.
Guys above him before this game have been benched.
He should have been benched. And LaFleur was asked, is there a thought of a
I
quarterback
know.
change? And he said no.
I was a little disappointed. Pretty easy. These press conferences I wanted to watch, and they got off pretty easy. Both him and LaFleur got off pretty damn easy. Now that's again.
And if listen,
Rodgers came out and said he played crappy, or he said a different word, and so he took the sting out by that. But go ahead.
if I have to listen to LaFleur once again when asked a question, say, that's a good question. If I knew, well, I guess we wouldn't be here. I'm done with the
Then he
with
needs
that
to go
answer.
too.
He
You don't
needs
have
to
any
go.
answers? Get out.
Listen, I'm done. You're a head coach of a freaking NFL team. There's only 32 people who have your job. If you don't know what the freaking problem is, you're the problem. Don't get me wrong. I hate Aaron Rodgers. And he is an asshole. And he's playing like shit. Parental advisories are in effect. Oh, sorry. I should have said that first. And I am sick and tired of a diva quarterback. We've had a diva quarterback for 30 freaking years. 30 freaking years. And our people, and all, they get away with everything. Everything. It's never their fault. We win games because we have the number 1 rated defense. Both times we won a Super Bowl, we had the number 1 rated defense, yet the quarterback got all of the credit. And then when we don't get back there, they blame how the quarterback had no help. There's no defense. There was no receivers. There was no this. There was no that. For Rodgers, that's all we hear. Maybe he should have never won the damn Super Bowl in the first place.
They said it for Favre too. Remember, Ron Wolf said, "Oh, one of his biggest regrets
I
was he
know,
never got
I-
Favre enough help and blah 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 blah." It's the same
know.
shit. It's the
But
same.
what I'm saying is
it's
this.
exactly the same, except exactly different.
Brett Favre threw 6 picks in a playoff game. That next day, 3 guys got cut, and they were all receivers. Who got the blame for that?
Yeah, I remember it.
Aaron Rodgers throws 3 picks in this game, and everybody's calling for Matt LaFleur's head. And I just said, I agree. Matt LaFleur has got some issues. He should know what's the problem. And here's the thing. Either you know what the question should be this when asked to Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur, if you want to keep your job, do you think a quarterback change would be needed? Ask him that way. Don't ask him, hey, do you think any thoughts of a quarterback change? Say, You know what? Your job's on the line. And at this point, everybody's blaming you and not the MVP, 4-time MVP, Hall of Famer quarterback. So it's going to fall on you. So if a change is not made and your quarterback won't change the way he plays, because he's said that multiple times,
Yeah.
and it's
How about-
obviously not working,
Right.
then the problem is you, Matt LaFleur.
Hmm.
Because you either make your quarterback do what wins, or you don't know what wins. Which one is it? Because you're either going to acquiesce to the Super Bowl, one-time Super Bowl winning, 4-time MVP, future Hall of Famer, who everybody will never give blame to. Therefore, you're always in the wrong. I just think it's hilarious. And I love Bruce. Bruce is a great guy. But he's on our text thread. And every so often he throws in there, oh, if he would have kicked the field goals instead of going for it on 4th down, we would have this many points. Yet he's the same guy, and all the other people are the same people who wanted us to go for it on 4th down against Tampa Bay in the playoffs. Give Aaron Rodgers the ball. You got the greatest quarterback of all time. Give him the ball. So now when he does give him the ball, now he should have kicked the field goal. See?
I wonder. I mean, I don't disagree. The only reason I was on board with that is because of how bad this team has been offensively and how hard it is for them to score points. I would have kicked field goals.
No.
All right. Oh, okay. But I also agreed with it.
No. Either it's Aaron Rodgers gets the ball because everybody says you have to give the ball to the Super Bowl winning 4-time MVP. You either do it then and you do it now, or you kick the field goal then and you kick the field goal now. It's one or the other. But no matter what this is why I said this way back then. No matter what LaFleur would have done, it would have been his fault.
Right. He's the one.
It's always his fault, no matter what he does. So why bother? Why put him out there anymore? Sit his ass down. Who cares if he makes $50 million? You have one job on this team: to be the leader. If your quarterback isn't doing what he's supposed to, you sit his ass down. Any other team you've watched over the years, when they have problems and they don't know what to do, they say, you know what, we're going with a different quarterback. Maybe that'll spark us. And sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. But it's obvious either LaFleur has no idea what he's doing, or he lets his quarterback do whatever the hell he wants, like throw to his buddy off his back foot on 4th and 1, like a dumbass. How dumb are you?
How is that your go-to
That's
play
your best.
on
4th?
David Bakhtiari has 0 receptions in his career.
Yeah, that's the go-to play on 4th and 1. When you need a score, you throw off your back foot to your oft-injured, messed up knee left tackle who can barely move. Yeah, that's the guy you want to throw the ball to.
So it's the one guy's mistakes. Come on, I don't know what you mean there, Jacob.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not saying it's one guy's mistakes.
No, it's a lot of people's mistakes. But
I'll tell you this much: when you hold a team to 15 points after your quarterback throws 3 picks, that's pretty damn good.
That's what I want to say too.
Especially a team that scored 27 points a game in their home field.
People are putting down the defense. Let's take a look at that here real quick. And then we need to examine a couple of things, but let's take a look at that here real quick. Cause I'm going to stop this one and start a new one here. Cause the new one is what's interesting to me. Okay. So the defense in this process, right? Everybody's saying, oh, they're not good enough. They're bad. They're this and that, blah, blah, blah. Well, I don't know. I mean, you tell me, is it really that bad? They got put in bad spots. They stopped the Lions. Okay, the Lions drove on them sometimes. All right, fine. But they got put in bad spots. They shut them down. They kept them out of the end zone. They gave up a couple of touchdowns, okay? A couple of freaking touchdowns. But just take a look at this. All right? Now, stats don't always tell the whole story, but they tell part of the story. The Lions, only 254 yards. Only 137 passing yards. Only 117 rushing yards. 4.5 yards per play. That's pretty damn good. 4.5 yards per play. Okay, over 2 on 4th down. You held them 2. You gave up 6 out of 11 third downs. Not great. But overall, that's not a bad day. Kept them at 57 total plays.
Even though your quarterback threw 3 picks.
Right? And time of possession for the Lions was only 25-18 compared to 34-42 for the Packers. So I'm just like, the defense wasn't bad. Okay? They gave up a couple of points, and they had a couple of dumbass plays by Jair, which gave up at least one of those. Actually, gave up both those touchdowns, to be honest with you. He gave up both those touchdowns, to be honest with you. So a couple of dumbass plays by him, but otherwise, they were pretty solid. Now, everybody also like, oh, we got all run over. Because when you watch the game, you thought they all got run over. Well, Jamal Williams had 24 carries for 81 yards, 3.4 yards per carry. That is not getting run all over. All right? This Jackson kid only got 4 carries. Yeah, he had 27 yards and 4 carries, and Swift had 2 carries for 10 yards. That is not getting run all over. Okay, that's like 115 yards on 30 carries. 30 carries to get to 115 yards, that's pretty decent run defense. So I don't want to hear it anymore that the defense was so bad or that they got gashed in the run. They did not. The stats will tell you that. And let's conversely look at the Packers. It's the same damn story. Now, the quarterback played like trash today, once probably as bad as he's played in a while, but it was just very bad. And he had a bunch more opportunities. 43 passing attempts, 4 rushes by Aaron Rodgers. So those were also pass attempts. So that's 47 passing attempts, basically, compared to 21 rushing attempts. So again, it's like more than double passing attempts to rushing attempts in a game that was never out of hand, that you were never down by more than 1 score, right? So what the hell? Why are we not running the ball? Now, we heard excuses. We heard excuses why we weren't. Now, we just couldn't get it going. Well, I understand. 3.1 yards per carry for Dillon, 2.8 for Jones. But Jones only had 9 attempts. Dillon only had 11 attempts. And there were a couple of big losses.
And where were those attempts? Hey, can I ask you a question? Now, I didn't get to watch the whole game, okay? I live in Minnesota. I don't pay for NFL, whatever. I didn't watch the Vikings either. I watched the NFL Red Zone because it was a free NFL Red Zone. Watched it. So they showed a lot of the drives that the Packers had inside the scoring, so I saw all the picks. I saw all the, they showed all the plays that were big time plays. But what I'd like to know is on running plays, was the quarterback under center? Was it out of I formation like last week where they had a really good running plays out of that? Or were they doing it out of single back shotgun bullcrap where nobody gets it? And then were they all those stupid zone runs again?
Well, that's part of the issue. There was some of the Matt LaFleur offense, and especially at times, but then we saw it go back to more of this shotgun runs, RPO setup, blah, blah, blah setup runs, okay? And I think there were certainly a lot more running plays called that turned into passing plays because of the option for the quarterback to pull it and throw it. But what happened is Aaron Rodgers was interviewed by Aaron Andrews before the game. And we saw the game last week where they had over 200 yards rushing, but they didn't win, Ben. So to Aaron Rodgers,
they played the damn Bills.
But to Aaron, and plus they didn't really start. Anyway, Aaron Rodgers, that showed that running the ball, we ran for over 200 yards and we still came up short. So we really got to throw the ball downfield. That's what he said he wanted to. That's what he said to Aaron Rodgers, or Aaron Andrews before the game, because she even said it. Like he even said, like, we've got to be throwing the ball downfield to win these games. And he did more of that today than he's done all season. And you saw some of the results. Holy moly. Anyway, most of those throws downfield were underthrown, by the way. Now, the question you have to ask as a Packers fan, and as we look at that, we'll try to get answers for you when we take a closer look. Is that more of a timing problem? Like he's seeing it and throwing it late? Or is it a mechanics problem where he's just not using good mechanics because we know he usually doesn't? Or is it both? Either way, the throws are not where they should be. They're late. They're underthrown. Just like his interception today when he's trying to throw to Robert Tonyan. The ball's late. The ball's late. You got to throw it sooner. And if you're late in the NFL, it's either going to be knocked away or picked. So this quarterback, number one, is throwing it late, and he's throwing it inaccurately or underthrowing it or behind guys. And that's what's causing a lot of the passes to be not completed. Just like the pass up the sideline to Alan Lazard where they tried to get it on a 4th down. If he puts that ball up in front of Alan Lazard, that defender can't get his hand in there to knock it away and pull it kind of out to jar it where Lazard loses it as he goes to the ground. But he put it in within reach. Lazard had to slow down, number one. Then he had to turn back towards the guy and lean in.
Lazard had to slow down? He's not even fast.
Yes, he had to slow down. If you go back and watch while the ball's in the air, he has to slow down to let that ball come to him. And that's what allowed the defender to get his hand in there and the pass to be incomplete. So you might say, Jago Seb says, stop, man. It's not Rodgers. This is the Packers GM throwing Rodgers under the bus and getting ready for the next 3 years. That's all it is. Okay. I hope you're being snarky there. I'm not sure, Jago, but point is...
Whoa. You're not sure?
What am I not sure about?
I don't know who Jago Sev is. I'm glad to see that you're leaving comments. Thank you so much.
So as much as I like this, a dislike 12, your front office is a mess. Oh, okay.
I'm gonna educate you. We're gonna spend a little time on the GM. Okay. We're gonna spend a little time right now.
That's right. Yeah, Matt LaFleur. I understand Matt LaFleur maybe called that play on that first down and goal, which is what we're going to show in a minute. But he didn't tell Aaron Rodgers to throw it at the guy's helmet. So anyway, good point.
Okay,
go ahead, Ben.
I'm going to take over for a good 10 minutes.
Yep, go for it. Sorry, I just went off here for a while.
At the end of 2019, a year where the Packers ran Matt LaFleur's offense and Aaron Jones had 21 touchdowns, they had 13 wins and 3 losses, and one of those losses was the last loss of the year. Or no, actually, they think they maybe won that game. I can't even remember anymore. They did win that game. Aaron Rodgers had 19 passes that were off target in the game against the Lions in the last game of the 2019 season. It was his worst game as a professional football player. Then they went to the playoffs. They squeaked a win out against Seattle, which was all thanks to Shannon Sullivan and Preston Smith on the last play of the game, where Shannon Sullivan was spying Russell Wilson and Preston Smith got the sack. And then the very next game, they beat the Rams handedly, and it was awesome. And then they go to San Francisco, and the guys didn't show up, and they got blown out, and it sucked. I think that's how it went. I could be wrong about the Rams game. Maybe that was a year later. I can't remember. But whatever. We're going over with this. After that, after watching those games played, and after watching the 49ers blow up the team and destroy it, Goody had a choice to make. Okay? And LaFleur. They looked at their team. They knew their quarterback was under contract for a couple more years. But they looked at the makeup of their team and they said, okay, listen, Matt, how's Aaron Rodgers looking on your throwing and within your system and everything else? And they were like, he looked like dog crap. So their decision was to lean into the Matt LaFleur system by drafting a big-time tough guy running back in the second round, a versatile H-back in the third round, who they finally have used the last 2 weeks, thank God. Don't know why they didn't use him the first 5, 6, 7 weeks of the year.
Not as much today, but he got more balls thrown his way.
He had more balls thrown his way, and he was awesome when he got involved thrown his way. Yeah. And they also drafted a quarterback. Now, should they have traded up for the quarterback? Probably not, but whatever. But they drafted the quarterback because of the accuracy issues of their quarterback and the fact that they had been successful running the Matt LaFleur offense, utilizing Aaron Jones and everybody on the team. And they won games when Davante Adams got hurt that year.
Undefeated when Davante Adams.
Right. They felt comfortable. Hey, I believe in this coach. I believe in his system. However, Aaron Rodgers didn't like that. But they drafted a quarterback. He demanded that the offense get changed into something more that he likes, which has less motion. He hates motion. He loves the beautiful West Coast offense where he can see the whole defense and then find the best matchup and then go to the best matchup. Of course, when he ran that offense, he also had all-pro wide receivers at every level, which he didn't have now. But the system Matt LaFleur runs works, even with regular guys. And a couple studs, like Aaron Jones and Davante Adams. But because Rodgers got all pissy and whiny, they had to acquiesce to him. So they changed the offense. It was less productive. They scored less points in 2020 But they still won 13 games. Aaron Rodgers won an MVP because they changed the offense. Not because he should have won the MVP, but because he had a bunch of numbers and not that many picks. And reporters are dumb. So they said, oh, no picks, bunch of touchdowns. He must be good. Even though other players had just as many touchdowns and more yards, but more picks. And their teams didn't have as many wins. And then in 2020-21, he decides he might not want to come back. And he does the whole offseason thing on the night of the draft. His guys let out the leak that he was upset, might not want to come back. The Packers are scrambling, trying to figure out what the crap's going on. Is he going to come back? I don't know. Is he going to come back? I don't know. They got to make decisions on guys, so they try to hang on to guys. They extend guys. They restructure their contracts. Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith, Adrian Amos, Billy Turner. They restructure everything. They bring back Aaron Jones, thinking that that's what Aaron Rodgers wants. They do all these things, which sets him up for problems in the future. Not because Goody wanted to, but because the quarterback is being a baby, and they got to try to make him come back because they don't know what they have in Love because they haven't been able to play him, and he doesn't look that great. And also because they don't know what else to do because he's already taken over the team. He also makes 10 times the amount of money that Matt LaFleur or Goody make, or even Mark. He makes way more than Mark Murphy. And we have no owner. Therefore, Aaron Rodgers is the number one, highest on the totem pole when it comes to decisions. Who's going to tell him no? He makes way more money than them. So then what happens? He comes back right before training camp, so it didn't work with anybody. Spends 25 minutes airing out his grievances, complaining about stuff, yelling at it, saying everybody sucks. And then Goody has to trade for Randall Cobb, which he did not want to do because he just drafted Amari Rodgers, who over the last couple weeks has proven he's not too bad. He sucks at punt returner, but he's not too bad as a slot receiver. Maybe Goody knew something there. But to acquiesce his guy, Aaron Rodgers, he trades for Randall Cobb. Plus, Bakhtiari got hurt after they gave the big, fat contract, and he isn't back yet. He doesn't come back all last year. And Aaron Rodgers shows up right at the last minute. Aaron Rodgers only throws 4 picks. Tom Brady was way more touchdowns than him. And Taylor from Indianapolis Colts has a way better season than anybody ever imagined. Yet those two guys don't win MVP, all because Aaron Rodgers only throws 4 picks. Not because he was better than them, but because he only threw 4 picks. And there's only 50 voters who vote on this, who are so dumb they don't know what the hell's going on.
It's a good point, Jago said with your last. You have a couple other comments in here I don't understand, but why we blame Rodgers for the amount of money he makes? That was the GM. You're right. The Packers. We said that was the Packers' last chance.
No, I'm getting to that. Can you hang on, please? I'm not done with the story.
Wow, sorry. Okay, finish up. I got some Aaron Jones statistics to throw in here quick.
I don't care about Aaron Jones. I'm talking about Goody.
All right,
and I'm talking about Aaron Rodgers, and I'm talking about Matt LaFleur right now. So then he comes back, airs his grievances. The team bends over backwards for him, even though they shouldn't have. They should have said, F you, buddy. Stay the fart away and don't come back. This is our team, not your team. It's our team. Goodbye. But instead, they were desperate. They didn't know what they had in Jordan Love. They weren't sure what else to do. He's coming off an MVP. So they're like, oh, he's just coming off an MVP. If we tell him to go away, people are going to say we're morons. Who gives a shit? Just do it. But nope, they did it anyways. He comes back, wins another MVP, not because he was the best player, but because he only threw 4 picks. And the offense was even worse in point production and yardage in 2021 than they were in 2020. And way worse than in 2019 when they ran Matt LaFleur's offense to perfection. But nobody remembers that part. They just remember that Aaron Rodgers won 2 MVPs in a row. So then Aaron Rodgers wins 2 MVPs in a row because Matt LaFleur changes the offense to match Aaron Rodgers, and all the offense is, oh yeah, I'm just going to throw to Devontae Adams 170 times. 170 times. And the next guy was 60 times to Aaron Jones. Yet, that's good? No. That's Matt LaFleur. He let Rodgers take over.
Right.
I blame Matt LaFleur for that. I'm not just blaming Rodgers for that. I'm blaming Matt LaFleur for that. Am I blaming Goody? Yes, I'm blaming Goody because he let them come back and take over and just destroy the whole freaking thing. They had a plan. After that game in Detroit, after the end of 2019, after their playoff loss where they didn't even show up off the bus in San Francisco, and Zadarius Smith, who somebody brings up here, said he just wasn't ready to play in that. I wasn't ready to play in that game. You know what? Zadarius Smith, maybe he's ready to play with the Vikings this year, but he hasn't been ready to play for the Packers pretty much the whole time he was there, except for the first year he was there. But he didn't show up at the playoff game against the 49ers in that last thing. So then what happens is this. The Packers finally have a shot to get rid of him. They finally have a shot to take the team back and try to run the organization the way it needs to be run as an actual organization instead of a diva-controlled, I don't know what, shell of itself is what it is now. They chose to be desperate.
Caved in.
Give the guy his money. They weren't sure. We don't know. They asked him questions. And they say, well, what should they have done? They have no choice. He's a 2-time MVP. They can't tell him to go away. He's a 2-time MVP. And they're right. If they would tell a 2-time MVP to go away or trade him, the fans would be losing their minds. What was the right choice? Trade him away. But at that point, in January, February, Goody had already given it up. He gave it up the year before in the offseason when he let Rodgers come back. Therefore, Goody never had control of this team. Not in the last 2 years. Aaron Rodgers controls everything. And when he's on the field, he controls where the ball goes, what the play calling is. He also controls who's going to do what and what's going to happen. I wish to God Matt LaFleur would tell us what really is going on. I wish Matt LaFleur could tell us, hey, guess what? I'm calling plays and this guy's doing whatever he wants. I wish that would happen, but it doesn't. So then you look at everything that happened now, and you're like, oh, Goody sucks. Why did he trade for somebody? Oh, my God. How can they let Zadarius Smith go? Well, I'll tell you why they let Zadarius Smith go. Because he's $11 million on the books right now. But if he's still on the team, he cost the team $28 million. That's why it was a dumb contract in the first place. That was a miss by Goody. But you know what?
Yep.
3 years ago, everybody loved Goody for getting Zadarius Smith.
They were also desperate then, right?
No, well, they were desperate because they had nobody.
Right.
Now, the same people here's the other thing. The same people that complained, that loved Goody and Zadarius Smith when Zadarius Smith showed up, when Preston Smith showed up, Agent Amos showed up, everybody loved Goody. Oh, look at this. Ted Thompson never did this. Goody's making all the moves. And what happens? Now, we're paying for it because we had to cut guys. We gave Aaron Rodgers $50 million a year. We traded Devontae away for some picks, thank God. But that hurts our cap a little bit. And now we signed Kenny Clark, who's a piece of garbage. I don't know. People keep saying he's so great. He doesn't make plays. I don't know what people are looking at. Maybe he doesn't get beat, but he sure as hell doesn't get penetration. I don't see any tackles for loss. I don't see hardly any sacks unless the guy gets pressure. Somebody else gets pressure, falls right into his lap. He sucks. Dave Bakhtiari's been injured. Is that Goody's fault? He gave the money to the best left tackle in the league, and the guy was hurt for a year and a half. Is that his fault, everybody? No. And you look at the team, and you look at the moves he made, and a lot of them made sense, as long as Aaron Rodgers isn't part of it. But the problem is, LaFleur changed the offense to fit Rodgers 2 years ago. And ever since then, it's no longer the team that Goody put together. Goody put together a team that was supposed to be Matt LaFleur's offense and a stingy defense. That's what he did. Now, he missed on Darnell Savage. That's true. He sucks. He missed on Stokes. Stokes can't cover guys unless it's man coverage and it's in front of him. Okay. But for a lot of the moves he's made have been pretty damn good. I think Devontae Wyatt is going to turn it around. I think Quay Walker looks great. I think Christian Watson's got to stay healthy, but when he is out there, he's a superstar, ready to in the making.
Blocks well, too. That's another thing he fits the offense
which is
for.
part of the offense.
Yeah, yep.
If you look at the team, the guys that he have drafted, it's supposed to be the Matt LaFleur offense, not the Aaron Rodgers offense.
Right. Run first offense and play action passes off of that to hit some big plays. That's what you're supposed to do.
Everybody is complaining, this guy's got to go, and this guy's got to go, and this guy should get Canada, this guy should get Canada, this guy should get Canada. It all comes down to one thing. Aaron Rodgers, they should have said goodbye to him 2 years ago. I said it 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I said it. And I was right. And everybody's like, you're an idiot. He won 2 MVPs. And I'm like, watch the film. He's not that great. He got lucky. He just threw up balls to Devontae Adams, who has great hands and caught a bunch of balls, even though he was covered, because Devontae's really good at finding the ball in the air. Okay. You're telling me they lost Davante Adams and that all of a sudden made Aaron Rodgers completely fall apart? He never had to actually run an offense before. For the last 5-6 years, he just threw to Davante Adams. He doesn't even know how to read a defense. His interception that he threw were to Robert Tonyan in this game, he made his mind up before the freaking ball was even snapped that he was going to throw there. And that's why it was picked. He didn't read the damn defense on that. Even I can fucking see that.
There's another play where he, and that's what I was going to show in a minute. But anyway, here, Jago is saying a bunch of things, and we just want to say here, okay, let's bring this in here, Jago. So we're talking about Z. Are you kidding me? He's the best defender in the NFC. Okay, Jago, you're a fan of another team, correct? You don't watch the Packers games, every play and all that stuff. I believe, right? I believe you're a fan of a different team, and you're not necessarily a Packers fan. We watch the team closely. We've seen Zadarius Smith. We saw him the first year, and then we saw him the last 2 years. And then when he was hurt, and then he finally came back, and we saw all the other stuff around the guy, and he just takes a lot of plays off. When he was on the Packers the last 2 years, it was injured or he took a bunch of plays off and never played his assignment. He made some splash plays because he went and did whatever the hell he wanted, even though that wasn't part of the defensive call. And sometimes it resulted in him making a play. And sometimes it resulted in a huge, like a 30, 40, 50-yard run because he was nowhere where he was supposed to be. So that kind of guy and that kind of player, don't want him. Don't need him. Go to the Vikings. I don't care.
Well,
because he's going to show the Vikings what he is later this year. Just wait for playoff time, and then he'll show you what he is. But that's fine. Enjoy it while you get it. We had some good times with him early on.
He's a fun, charismatic guy.
Yeah.
He's
enjoy the good times with him.
But he's funny. He's awesome.
Do not expect them to last. And for your sake as a Vikings fan, I really hope that the Vikings don't extend a big contract to him after this season. Don't get fooled.
He's got a 3-year contract right now.
Is it still 3 years? I thought it was only one more year.
No, he signed a 3-year contract with them.
Right away? Oh,
yeah.
All
the
right.
Packers cut him straight. He was free to sign with anybody for whatever.
Oh, man. All right. Well, then, sorry.
All right. Hilder.
Enjoy your first fun year, and then the other ones are going to suck. Okay, that's fine.
Not the coach's fault.
And then he's trying to. So then the other thing you're trying to say is you're telling me it's Rodgers' fault, it's Goody's fault. Whose fault is it? It's all of them.
It's all their fault.
It's all of them.
But the problem is, Jago, is as a Packer fan, all you hear is, like I said earlier, Rodgers can do no wrong.
Yeah.
Everybody got a Goody when he drafted Love, as well as me. I thought it was dumb. I mean, you already got Rodgers, and he signed for 3-4 more years. Like, what were you doing? It was dumb. It was too early. It was the wrong time.
Right.
It was the wrong time. They should have drafted a quarterback after this year, or when Rodgers was under contract for this one more year or something.
Yeah.
But that was a dumb move. You squandered. You could have drafted a receiver or somebody who could impact the team of the last 3 years. So that was a dumb move. So I'm not saying it was a good move. I'm saying I understand why they did it based on the last game. Now, they shouldn't place it all on just that one game. But Rodgers is hard to deal with, especially when you're a young guy. Here's the other problem. Aaron Rodgers is closer in age to the head coach and the general manager than he is to half his teammates. So what kind of power does he have over those guys? The Packers had an option to possibly bring in a seasoned coach, a guy like Bruce Arians or somebody like that. And Bruce Arians, he said in that offseason when they're looking for a coach after they canned McCarthy, he wanted nothing to do with that team. That's what he said. Not one thing. He didn't want anything to do with the Packers.
Yep. He didn't want anything to do with that job, he said.
And the main reason is Rodgers.
Yeah, most likely because he didn't want to deal with that crap.
Which is why he was happy. And watch what happened in the Tampa this year. When Tom Brady was gone, Arian was super excited about being the coach. And then they found out Tom Brady's coming back. And then within a month, he was like, yeah, I'm moving up to the front office. I'm done. Because he didn't want to deal with the diva coach anymore, or diva quarterback. And he's right.
And it like Ben was saying, we freaked out during the Love pick because nobody expected that because you had Rodgers under contract for all those years. It was the wrong time, but you made the pick and then you're years into it. And this last offseason was the time you needed to at least give it a shot because you already committed to it. You already made the pick. You had the opportunity. They didn't do it. They screwed up. They handed over the keys of everything to Aaron Rodgers, and now he's playing like trash. To point out what Ben backed up here, let's do a quick share of this, which is Aaron Jones' stats. Okay. Aaron Jones, just to point out, as Ben was saying, under the first year of Matt LaFleur 2019, when the running game was the focal point of the offense and they were running the actual system, not the modified system to placate to Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones had 16 rushing touchdowns and 3 receiving touchdowns and over 1,500 total, combined yards. In 2020, on just a few less carries, he only had 9 touchdowns rushing and only 2 receiving. And then in 2021, when Dillon got mixed in a little more, but Jones still had the bulk of the carries, only 4 rushing touchdowns, but 6 receiving touchdowns, because Aaron Rodgers gets credit for those too, right? He don't get credit for the ones he hands off, but he gets credit for the ones he throws. So that just shows you the trend. We stopped giving our prime touchdown maker running opportunities to run the football in the end zone so our quarterback could get his stats and win the MVPs, because the offense, that's what it was set up for. And also, just to point it out, on 107 carries this year, Aaron Jones has one rushing touchdown.
Well, actually, he has more than that, but they're little flip passes from Aaron Rodgers, so he gets the receiving touchdown. So two of his 3 receiving touchdowns are actually really runs.
I agree with that.
No.
However, that's still only 4 touchdowns for your best guy, basically your best touchdown maker, right? Is there anybody on the team that's a better chance to score a touchdown when given the opportunity than Aaron Jones?
No, he's the best.
No, he's by far their best option on offense, and the guy has 4 touchdowns this year. They're not using him enough, and that's another big problem. Also, in their wins, Aaron Jones has a bunch of touches. In their losses, Aaron Jones is underutilized, just like he was in the first half of this game today.
The thing is this.
I have one.
There is okay. Well, go ahead.
And it's a question. It's a question that all fans should ask themselves right now. And let's make this point. And it was brought up to Matt LaFleur. It was like the only really good question that was asked of him, other than the one if he decided to make a quarterback change, because they talked about trying to run the ball. And Matt LaFleur said, "Oh, well, inside the 5, did you notice how, they brought in 6 defensive linemen? They brought in 6 defensive linemen and dared us to pass." And there was an actual good follow-up question to that, where the reporter said, "Well, what does that say to you that teams you're playing are challenging an Aaron Rodgers-led offense to throw the ball? So what does that say to you as a fan of NFL football, or a Packers fan, that other teams that we play, that the Packers play, would prefer it if they throw the ball? They're actually putting in defenses to stop the run, and Aaron Rodgers is still terrible at throwing it and not being successful. And they want him to throw it. They're challenging the Packers to throw it as much as they're throwing it. And the Packers are falling right into that trap. They're going away from the strength of their offense, which is the running game, and they're falling into the trap of throwing it twice as many times as they run it in a game that they're never more than 1 score behind. So ask yourself that damn question. If everybody thinks we don't know jack shit, well, do all the defensive coaches in the NFL that play the Packers, who study the Packers going into the game plan and decide to put defenses on the field to dare the Packers to throw it, do they know anything about football? If you think we're dummies, they're on the same page as we are.
Real quick, we are dummies. That's not a surprise. But it's interesting because Zero is saying we're the Vikings from last year. That's not true. The Vikings were a good offense last year. We're not. The Vikings had a bad. Their defense was struggling with the defensive head coach, and our defense is doing pretty good. Even though we got guys who can't even tackle. Half our guys don't even know how to tackle. Yet we're still only giving up 15 points, and we can't even score more than 15 points in a game with Aaron Rodgers, the 2-time or 2-time in a row MVP. We can't score more than freaking 9 points in a game.
We got hey, we got some help. I mean, the injuries actually helped bring better tacklers out there today.
I
Ford was
know.
on
When
the
Stokes
field
got
and
hurt, I was so excited. I was like,
Nixon
thank
was
God.
playing his ass off, and he was attacking stuff. I know he got one penalty, but he
Yeah.
was breaking up stuff. He was tackling. He was doing stuff.
Nixon is awesome. I love that guy. When it comes to the Vikings this year, I live in Minnesota, so I hear about the dumb Vikings all the time. And I should call them dumb because of the Vikings, and I hate them. I'm a Packer fan. Sorry, guy. You're probably awesome. Jago, whatever. I'm just telling you, I hate the Vikings too. I hate Aaron Rodgers and I hate the Vikings. I wish Aaron Rodgers was a Viking. That'd be fine. But bottom line is he's not. Bottom line is the Vikings are winning, and that's great for you guys. I think
Good
that's
for the
cool.
Vikings.
They made a huge change. I think your GM has been doing some crazy moves. Some of them I agree with, some of them I don't. But you know what? He's at least trying something. But he also doesn't have... His quarterback runs the system. His quarterback throws to the open guy. Now, he's not very good when the play breaks down. We all know that. But if you have a guy who runs the system and your system is good, which is the same system the Packers are supposed to have, basically, because it's off the Kyle Shanahan tree, which is what, your new head coach is all about, and where Kirk Cousins thrived when he was with the Redskins. Oops. Yeah, well, they were back then, so they're called back then. But anyways, he thrived under that system, and now he's under the same system, and the Vikings are moving the ball. Now, today he didn't have that great a game, but they squeaked out a win. But the bottom line is Cousins throws to the open guy. Cousins reads the defense. Sometimes he throws like crap. Most of the time he's pretty dang accurate and pretty dang good. Our quarterback doesn't read the defense. Our quarterback doesn't run the system. He likes it when he can be a superhero. He likes it that when the game's on the line with 50 seconds left and 2 timeouts, he decides to throw a bunch of balls, chuck them downfield instead of just running the damn system and trying to get some yards when you got 2 timeouts and 50 seconds left to score a touchdown when you're only down by 6 points. But here he is taking shots downfield to guys who aren't even open.
The last
4 times in a row. And LaFleur asked about that after the game, said, you weren't supposed to be all chucks downfield. But then he said, LaFleur said, but I had bad play calls, so that's what had to happen. So he took the blame, saying that his play calls were bad. And once again, and Rodgers just gets off scot-free. I don't get it.
Now, to follow up, because Jago brings a good thing. He says he watches the pack. Bakhtiari is just as big of a problem, cap-wise and play-wise. Absolutely. Bakhtiari, not available again. In the area for a while, then riding the bike for half the game, and then comes back in for the last drive. Great. Yeah, he's also a problem. The bottom line is this. Jair Alexander, highest paid cornerback in the league. Yes, he made a pick today, but he also made a dumbass 15-yard penalty and then tried to block an extra point, which basically aided the Lions substantially in getting their first 8 points of the game because they scored a touchdown on that drive after a big pass play and then a 15-yard penalty. And then for some reason he tries to block an extra point. It's an extra point. Who gives a rip? Just leave it alone, dude. So then they went for 2 and they got it. And then on the second touchdown, and we'll take a look at the play, but what I saw was everybody in man coverage. Jair was covering man on that tight end, and then just let him go. Let him go. And then he went across formation. Nobody's on him. Savage can't pick him up because Savage isn't aware of anything.
We will look at the tape.
Savage ain't aware of jack shit. And so then he's open for a touchdown. So that's your highest paid corner in the league. He's a big problem. Bakhtiari's a big problem. Rodgers is a big problem. Kenny Clark gets paid a lot of money.
No-show.
So the problem, yes, and that's GM. They chose to pay money to a bunch of guys who are not performing. That money, those guys are supposed to be the reasons you win. And right now, those guys are performing terribly or underperforming at best. So all of those things. So it's the players, it's the GM, and the reason it's also the coach's fault, LaFleur's fault, is because he has not taken charge of this situation with his quarterback.
Which
all of that.
I don't know.
All of it.
Listen, part of it is it's almost like when you're like the manager of a store or something, right? And the store is crumbling around you, or I don't know, or something's going on, or you're working hard, but everybody's weird. You just do whatever you can to survive at some point. When things don't go wrong, you blame it on everybody else. When you can fix problems and you know that where the root of this problem is like somewhere to the left. But if you do the thing that's on the right, it makes the numbers look better so that, the corporate guys don't fire you. You fix the things that fix the numbers, not necessarily the root of the problem. And that's what a lot of people do when they're in situations where they're afraid of losing their job or a situation where they don't know what to do. And I think that's what's happened to LaFleur at this point. And he's said it in many press conferences. He doesn't know the answers as to why things suck, apparently. Well, then I don't know.
That's also part of why it's his fault. Because
Right.
if you're the coach, you're supposed to
it's
have
everybody's
answers.
fault. Like, I don't understand. Like, I'm not trying to say that it's Rodgers' fault and not anybody else's. And I'm not trying to say that Goody has no blame. They all have blame. Goody had a plan that Aaron Rodgers said, I threw a wrench in their plan. You bet your ass you threw a wrench in their plan. And now you're throwing a wrench in everything, playing like dog crap. And you admitted.
Let me address this real quick. Jago Sev, you say, and you guys have owned us. Why is it changing? Not Rodgers. Well, okay. Actually, Kirk Cousins had head-to-head against Aaron Rodgers, has a winning record.
You betcha.
Winning record against Aaron Rodgers. Just a heads up.
You betcha.
And the Vikings in the last, I think, 10 are like, I want to say it's like 10-9 against the Packers in the last 19 games, I believe. So we haven't really owned you. We used to own you a while ago, when you had terrible quarterback play forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever, and all the guys that you had that were just awful.
Who's that guy they rolled out in the playoff
like Randy
game?
Cunningham that one time, and
who's the guy they rolled out in the playoff game that one time? That was just pathetic. He's like a wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, well, he was a Joe Webb.
Yeah,
yeah. And the Packers needed him to play in order to win that. Oh yeah,
otherwise they would never won. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I know.
So but now that the Vikings actually have stability at the quarterback spot, I mean, you guys are closing in. You guys are closing in on the Packers. So just a heads up. And and Rodgers has a losing record head-to-head against your quarterback, Kirk Cousins. So
this is the bottom line as to why I get mad about Rodgers, for anybody who listens and cares. And I'm sure I've said it many times. We fired McCarthy. Rodgers played like crap. McCarthy got the blame. I don't know if it was the right decision or if it was the wrong decision. I do not know. Since that year, we hired Matt LaFleur. His first season, the offense was very productive. It was one of the highest, most productive offenses in the league. He used Aaron Jones, who was our biggest playmaker, to his fullest, especially in the red zone where he was unstoppable. And then I got Game Pass, NFL Game Pass, which is now NFL Plus. And the 2020 season, 2021 season, I watched every single play on the All-22. And when I watched those plays, what I saw repeatedly was our 2-time and then 3-time and then 4-time MVP quarterback look at wide open guys and not throw the ball. And then try to make something out of nothing, even though the play was there.
And he did that again today too, on one of his stats.
I watched Kirk Cousins just throw to the guy who's open. And I watch Jimmy Garoppolo throw to the guy who's open. And I watch Jared Goff just throw to the guy who's open in the same offense. And they go to the Super Bowl. Maybe not Kirk Cousins, but the other two guys got their way to the Super Bowl. Now, they didn't win it because they don't have the talent Aaron Rodgers has. But when you combine the talent with running the system properly, that should be Super Bowls. But there's a quarterback who has a legacy, and his legacy is most touchdowns compared to interceptions. He doesn't like to take chances. He doesn't like to ruin his rating because that's the highest thing he's got right now, and he knows he'll never catch Brady. And that's the difference. I used to love Aaron Rodgers. He was my favorite player. In that video you talk about, when the Packers drafted Jordan Love, I had still not watched the L-22 at any time. I loved Aaron Rodgers at that point. I did not know this. And it took me a couple weeks of watching the film to go like, wait a minute, this guy's open. Why is he not throwing it? And at first I was just like, oh, well, I guess he didn't see it. And then it happened again. And then it happened again. And then it happened again. And over and over and over and over and over. And I said, wait a minute. Is he trying to win games? Or just trying not to ruin his legacy as the highest touchdown interception ratio guy? What is going on here? And that's the biggest difference.
And
then I watched
people.
Well,
I just want to point out to give a little more credibility, because I believe you, and you've been said all this stuff, and you've shown it, and we've gone over it. But it's not just us. A bigger fanboy of Aaron Rodgers, or just as big as we ever were, is Chris Sims, who breaks down all this crap, who was an NFL quarterback, and his dad was an NFL quarterback, and he was blinded at it for a long time too. But
Yeah.
he's saying it as well. Go watch Chris Sims.
He's only been saying it for a year. I've been
Yeah.
saying it since the beginning, almost halfway through 2020. So
Well, I know,
I'm
but
the guy who saw it first.
But he has no vested interest in the Packers as a team, where you do, where you're like, hey, there's stuff going on with the team. What the hell is this? He's just like still looking in love with Aaron Rodgers and remembering the great, exciting plays, but not seeing play to play. But now he's seeing it and he's saying it. So,
Well, obviously Jay Go is not going to listen to anything I say, so that's fine. The Packers organization is one of the best organizations ever. And they do, I will say this, and we talked about it when they drafted Jordan Love. They want to be able to keep consecutive winning streaks and playoff streaks alive, because they know that is what keeps fans in the seats. But what's going on now is Rodgers is led to such a big issue with these guys. They have no control anymore. So when the organization had control, if they would have kept with the plan that they had, it might not have worked. I'm not saying it would have worked, but it would have been their plan. It would have been Goody's plan, and it would have again been Matt LaFleur's offense. But because they didn't stick up to Rodgers and say, listen, this is what needs to happen. We know you're talented. We want you to be this quarterback, but we want you to play our system. And that's why it's fallen apart.
yeah,
Because they gave the reins to him. And now, when he doesn't have his scapegoat, or not scapegoat, but his security blanket in Devontae, and you don't have MVS to take the top off the defense, and nobody does. We don't have any speed anymore. When Christian Watson gets hurt, we got no speed. That changes everything. It changes everything. And you can't. I don't know who to blame. That's what I was trying to get at from before. I don't know if LaFleur can't coach. I don't know if Goody can't put a team together. Because over the last 2 years, they've had to do whatever Rodgers wanted in addition to what they already started. So it changed their plan and messed up everything because of one guy. And one guy in basketball makes a difference. When you have a 5-man team and Giannis is your man, he can win you a lot of games because he's awesome. Okay? But in football, there's 11 guys on offense, 11 guys on defense, and then a bunch of other guys that play special teams. So your one quarterback is most of the time not even your biggest playmaker, much less the most important player on the team. He is, yes, because he has the ball in his hands every time. But you can't throw everything at him and let him acquiesce or take over your team and make you acquiesce to him and let him make the decisions. You have to stand up to him if you have a plan. And now that it's all crumbling apart, and I don't know, is it Rodgers sucking? If we ran LaFleur's offense, would it be good? Maybe it would be bad. Maybe LaFleur is a bad coach, but I can't blame him because he's not running his system. Maybe Goody is a terrible GM, but I can't blame him because they had to bring back Randall Cobb. They couldn't keep all the guys they wanted. Has they made dumb moves? Yeah, everybody makes dumb moves.
You're right, though. Like when in the 2020 or 2020 draft, right? Following that season that you talked about where Rodgers looked terrible at the end of the season, they decided they were going to draft a quarterback. Yeah. They also drafted A.J. Dillon, which you were like, what the hell is this all about? Why would you do that?
Well, I liked it. If you go back, I like drafting A.J. Dillon.
But like you were saying, they were drafting players to run in Matt LaFleur's system, to make Matt LaFleur's system work. They were drafting players to fit that system, right?
Yep.
And then the system changed. And so now the players kind of still fit, but some of them don't fit and all that sort of stuff. But and so you're trying to execute that plan, and now your plan is kind of spursed out because you've got to put in the Rodgers stuff into the plan, and those two plans don't mesh that well. And you're trying to make all this work together. So it is messier and it is not as effective. So you can't fully grade the GM on doing what he wants to do because he's not able to do everything he wants to do. And you can't fully grade the coach on what he wants to do because he's not able to do everything he wants to do either. One thing I want to say in response, and then we're going to go to and probably finish on this is decisions. Decisions have been a big issue for Aaron Rodgers as well. But I said this off the top, and Jago said something about, hey, those other teams that you mentioned, they're all drafting better. Well, I'm just telling you right now, Quay Walker, a rookie, playing well. Samari Toure, doing some good things. Zach Thomas saved our ass on the offensive line, playing at 3 different spots in the last 3 games, and then had to play 2 spots in today's game, including left tackle when David Bakhtiari was out. And then you've got, Kingsley Inigbare. That dude's a player. That dude's showing up. He's a rookie too. And Devontae Wyatt, in the snaps he gets, he's flying around making plays. So this GM is drafting pretty well. All right. Yeah. Watson being hurt, it looks like crap. But guess what? Early on, Rashawn Gary looked like crap too. And he's pretty awesome. Now he got hurt today, which sucks, but he's a really good player. So in terms of percentages of drafting players that actually can help your team, this GM's got a pretty good track record of it when you look at it a couple years down the road and you can really see it. But these rookies are already here and they're already making an impact. So that's pretty encouraging. Okay, let's go to decisions, Ben. We've talked about this. What is one thing that players talk about all the time, coaches practice it all the time, and if you're an 18-year veteran, you should be very aware of these type of things in the game?
I don't know.
It is situational football, right? Situational football. So here's a play. Let's just take a look at this play. Take a look at what happens here, right? The Packers, right after this Aaron Jones run, it's 3rd and 1. Okay, 3rd and 1 at the 24-yard line. They run a little action play here. Aaron Rodgers throws a high pass to Mercedes Lewis, and he makes a great catch, and they got 1st and goal from the 5-yard line. 1st and goal from the 5. Now take a look at this defensive alignment. Now I know the Lions are all packed in here, and a part of that is you got this receiver tucked in here. Okay, I don't know why you want that. Let's get him out because that'd probably move 2 of these guys further out here, and then all of a sudden, instead of having 4 and 5, you'd actually have probably 4 and 3. So you have 7 in the box, and you should be able to pick your poison there and maybe give it to your 250-pound back and see if he can find a crease. But so they're a little outnumbered here. But still, it is 1st down from the 5-yard line. 1st and goal with 5 yards to go. 250-pound back.
Out of shotgun.
Out of shotgun.
Which is dumb.
Okay, I'm pausing it here because I want to say something that Aaron Rodgers said in his press conference. Now, first of all, I hate this play call. I hate this decision. If you look at all these guys, they're pretty much on the line of scrimmage. Josh Myers is too far downfield. He should have got a flag for this block downfield, to be honest with you, if it's a pass play. So we don't know if it was actually an RPO or supposed to be a run. We don't know. We don't know that. Those are things we cannot know. However, this is your 18-year quarterback. This is 1st down. If it's not clean and you don't see it clean, are you throwing this ball and hitting the guy in the helmet and popping it up in the air and getting it a turnover on 1st and goal from the 5? That is a decision in situational football. Not to mention,
all I know is, why doesn't he throw it to the back of the end zone in the middle of the field to his 6'5" wide receiver when both linebackers are biting on the play action? Watch
play
that's
that
another
good question. I'm going to, but I want to tell you is this. After in his post-game press conference, Aaron Rodgers said something really interesting, right? Because first he started off with saying how he had, he said he had crappy throws and, played kind of crappy and all that sort of stuff. And he used a different word. Okay. Eldon Lord, we'll get to you in a minute. Answer those questions. But we're going to just review this. Then after saying, taking some blame and saying he played bad, then they asked him about this play because it's not like it was tipped. It wasn't a tipped pass. It hit the guy in the freaking helmet. He said, well, it's kind of tough on that one. It was almost kind of like a blind throw because you're faking to the running back off to this side. And I saw Allen out of the corner of my eye, and I just never saw him, and I threw it. So that was his explanation on why this happened. Kind of, again, finding some explanations, finding some coverage for himself in the bad play. Unfortunate play, right? Because those plays happen. Except that's what he said. I want you to watch his head. Okay, here's the play fake. All right, he's already looking up. Now he's looking in the middle. Now he's looking right at Alan Lazard. Is he throwing the ball here? Is he throwing the ball yet? He is not. Not even close to throwing the ball yet. Now he's starting. He's starting to throw the ball. He started looking at Alan Lazard right away, right? He did the play fake. He looked at Lazard right away. The only reason this linebacker who's looking at him got in this window is because he was staring down Alan Lazard. Yet post-game said he was just looking at him out of the corner of his eye. It was kind of a blind throw because on that play, you got to fake to the opposite side and you can't see everything and blah, blah, blah.
Well, he should have threw it to the middle of the O in the Lions, and that would have been a touchdown. Like, throw it like kind of up in the air. He threw it behind, like, I don't know what that was. That was a dumb throw. Bad throw.
It was a very dumb throw, and it was also a bunch of BS in his press conference.
Well, he's always BS. That's what else is new.
I'm just calling him out directly because I saw the video proof. His head is turned looking at Alan Lazard. That was not a corner of my eye. He's just telling you a bunch of crap to try to cover up for his bad play.
That's what he always does.
So screw
you.
you.
It's never his fault.
Aaron Rodgers. Pisses me off. All right, what do we got here? Ellen says, will the Packers make the playoffs?
Hell no.
They have to change a lot of stuff to make the playoffs, and they're probably not going to do it.
Listen.
And Rodgers last season, and will he retire after the season? Yes.
No, he won't.
But not until like the last minute. He's not going to retire at the end of the season. He's going to wait and wait and wait and then make his decision at the last possible minute. Then he'll say, yep, I'm taking my money and my retirement and see you guys later. That's what will happen. So in Aaron Rodgers last season, the answer is no, the Packers will not make the playoffs because they will not make the changes to how they play during his last and final season. They will let him do whatever the hell he wants because it's his last season.
They made the changes for last week. We talked about the encouraging things we saw, and none of those things happened today. Not a single one of them. None of them. So then what do? I don't believe in them. They're not going to make the playoffs. Playoffs? No way. No chance.
I thought the defense was going to make more turnover type plays, like big impactful plays, and they haven't come up with many of those. And without those, when your offense is struggling so bad, I'm sorry, but this defense has got to score points. They
had the ball inside the freaking 2-yard line.
I just showed you
first in a row and got 0 points.
First and goal from the 5, and they don't do what they should do.
They had first and goal from the 1. Just run it 4 damn times.
Yeah.
And don't run out of shotgun and don't do a freaking RPO. Just get behind center, get under center with a freaking I formation and smack the piss out of guys and run them over with A.J. Dillon. And do it 4 times in a row. If it doesn't work the first time, do it a second time. Work the second time, do it a third time. Doesn't work the third time, do it a 4th time.
I know they try.
I am so sick of this crap. Who is? I don't know. Listen, Jago, I don't know what you're saying. You're telling me I'm an idiot. Fine, but I'll tell you this much: Goody can go, LaFleur can go, Rodgers can all of them can go. I don't even give a crap. I'm a Packer fan. I've been a Packer fan since 1981 or 2, or whenever I realized what the hell the Packers were. When I was watching James
look at this.
Lofton and John Jefferson and
he thinks people are getting open, Ben. You've shown how many times people are open. And they were open today, too. They were open today, too.
Jago, you haven't not watched our show.
Come watch our film reviews.
So you don't know what's going on. If you've watched our show in the past, you would see how many times guys are open. You would see how many times Rodgers has made a bad throw or a poor decision or a dumb move. And how many times they should just run the goddamn ball and they don't because they're in, or not. It's not catching the ball. It's what formation are you in? What players do you have on the field? Good God. It took them 7 weeks before they put Guara in there. I mean, come on. How dumb are you? Big Dog, what's Big Dog going to do? He had one catch this game, fell on his face after he caught it, and even though he was wide open. Wow. Anybody else catches that, they score a touchdown. But he catches it and falls down.
He did have to jump pretty high for it when he probably shouldn't have had to.
Okay, well, he's 6'7" or whatever. He should be able to catch it.
That's why it was a pretty high pass. It was a pretty high pass.
Well, either way.
I agree.
I like Sims. I listen to Sims. He usually makes sense.
And Chris Sims knows,
because he watches the film and he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, and he knows route concepts and he studies offenses and he does all this stuff. So, he wasn't a very good player. I get it, but it doesn't mean he is not a smart guy who knows a lot about football, and he does. And the other reason I bring him up is because Aaron Rodgers is like his favorite quarterback of all time. And his dad was a freaking quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
And he openly says that his favorite quarterback of all time is Aaron Rodgers.
But not anymore.
So, and he's seeing it and he's saying it. So anyway, I'm just trying to, put it out there that we're not the only ones.
This guy, Josh Allen, made a couple of dumb freaking picks today and they lost.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So Josh Allen is just as dumb as anybody else.
He's looking like old Josh Allen now, all of a sudden. Like he did it last week.
He threw a pick in the red zone again this week, and it was the dumbest pass. It was dumber than the one to Jair. At least the one to Jair, he threw low and Jair picked it off. This time he threw it right to the guy. And there was one Bill and there was like 4 Jets within the ball and him. And he still threw it. Like, what a dummy.
And speaking of picks in the red zone,
Aaron Rodgers? Oh.
All of Aaron Rodgers' interceptions today, all 3 of them were throws to guys in the end zone he was trying to throw a touchdown pass.
Yeah.
So even the one that wasn't in the red zone was a pass to the end zone.
Plus, do you remember how many interceptions you said he had before this last game? Excuse me?
Yeah, he had 97. He hit the century mark today. Hit the century mark today. Yeah, I bet that's probably why he was so sad after the game more than anything else.
No, probably.
Because he hit the century mark. And that was his goal like a couple years ago to finish his career below 100 interceptions. But in order to do that, buddy, you should have retired after last year. Sorry, just telling you. Well, now it's done. Packers are 3-6. Would you ever have thought that was going to be the case, Ben? 3-6. Woo, boy. Can I say what? Here, you know what?
You're wrong, Jago.
Two more quick
things.
Aaron
Aaron Rodgers is the reason they're losing.
2 more quick things.
Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur. I'll give you Matt LaFleur, but not.
I'll give you a lot of problems, but Rodgers is the biggest. Actually, let's combo that with the players they're paying the premium dollars to. But Rodgers is at the top of that pyramid, and then Bakhtiari, Kenny Clark, Jair, they're all in there too, underperforming or playing just like garbage. Those guys are the biggest part of the problem. The coaching has been a problem. Decisions, the front office has been in a tough spot, and they made some dumb choices. But I like their draft picks here lately. Let me just say this: I am pissed and annoyed.
You are?
By these reporters who are like, well, I mean, how do you feel after losing to that team, to that terrible one? And you know what? Screw you, reporter who says that.
Yep.
The Lions are a freaking NFL team. Like, yeah, their record is bad, but that is a team that plays its ass off.
You bet your ass they do.
That is a team that has heart. That is a team that has been in basically every game this year except one.
The Packers can't say that.
They just couldn't finish games, or they came up on the short end, or sometimes their coach made a really dumb choice and went for it on 4th down when he shouldn't, which coaches do sometimes, right? So, but to say that is garbage, especially when you're talking to a team that only has 3 wins. Okay. And the other thing I'll say is I have a ton of respect, and I want to give it up for the Detroit Lions fans. Did you hear how damn loud they were in this game? The whole game.
No, because I didn't watch the game because I didn't see it.
But you heard it on the highlights. But the whole game,
I just saw the highlights. I didn't hear nothing.
All right, never mind. Fine. I'll tell you. The Lions fans were into the game the whole game and super loud the whole game for a 1-6 team. If the Packers were 1-6 and had a home game against a bad team, what do you think the Packers crowd would be like?
What do you think they're going to be like next week when they're 3-6 against a Cowboys team that's good with their former head coach is now their head coach who won a Super Bowl with that head coach, and he's going to bring in a team that's on a high, who's winning games, who's on a 5-game losing streak at home.
Mickey Jones says it too. The Lions are an NFL team. Damn right they are.
No, well, I think he's asking if they're an NFL team.
Oh, yeah, they are. I'm sorry. Oh, well, they are. They are, and they played like it today. And you know what the other thing is? Lions fans are loud because they knew they could beat the Pack. Ooh, well, probably.
Anybody can beat the Pack because they suck.
You don't think they'd be as loud as they're playing the Bills? I don't know. Look, the
Bills lost to the Jets, so
they
whatever.
played. The same thing was the case at the end of last season. I'm meeting this game. The Lions were a 2-win team playing the Packers in the last game of the season at home, and the fans were into it, and they were freaking loud. And their team won 2 games to that point. So, like, just give them a little respect, man. You know? And that's what I think Packers fans, yeah, we've been spoiled, right? 13-3, 13 wins, 13 wins, 13 wins. Okay, we're at 3-6 right now. Are you going to check out? Are you done with this team for the year? Are you giving up all hope? I'm going to be there for it all, good or bad. If it's terrible and it needs to be called out, we'll freaking call it out. But if there's good stuff going on, we'll talk about that too. And that's why I talked about all these rookies. I was excited. But everyone knows damn rookies I talked about.
This show is called Packer Outright Opinions for a reason. We say our opinion. We are idiots, so it could be wrong. We've never said that we're the geniuses that know all. If we did, we'd be working for a team. Hello, we're just a couple of dinguses. But I do know this. I'm a Packer fan. Seeing Josiah DeGuara get in the game and play great, I'm excited. Seeing Zach Tom, who's a guy who's a 4th-round pick, who wasn't even the first offensive lineman picked by the Packers this year, and he's coming in and doing a pretty good job at a bunch of different spots. I'm excited. Seeing Enigbare come in there and get some pressure and, do some crazy stuff. I love the pickups of Rudy Ford and Keyshawn Nixon. Unfortunately, they're all 1-year contracts, so they probably won't be back next year because Packers are dumb. They'll never sign it back.
Damn.
But those guys are making plays left and right. But for every one of those, we have the Goody draft picks. And this guy, Jago saying it's the front office. Yeah, you're right. Savage sucks. He's a 1st-round pick. Jair is a baby who screws up. Want to tackle
it's dumb. After he got the 15-yard penalty, he's like going to the crowd like this. Like telling him to bring it on and like I'm like, you're such a moron. Why are those guys gonna be such morons? It just ticks me off. Like, why can't they be as cool as
Corey's right. We keep watching, but here's the thing. If there's improvement, if there's some semblance of, it's always fun to watch a team. Like I like watching the Lions because it looks like they have heart. Like, even if they lose all the time. I mean, I love an underdog. I always have.
Well, now the Packers are pretty much for
well,
the
that's
rest
great.
Of the year.
But the problem is they still got a quarterback who takes no blame, and even though he's part of the problem, is he the main problem? Probably. He's not the only problem. But David says it right. He isn't helping the team win, and he's paid like he should be the reason why they win. He's paid to help other guys be better, and he's being worse than he's ever been before. As well as the fact that I don't think the coach can actually coach the way he wants to. And the GM isn't able to do what he wants because he had to give him a crap ton of money. They should have gotten rid of him somehow. They should have kept on with their plan. It didn't work. I said it a long time ago. So it's not something new that I just all of a sudden saying, oh, they suck. I've been saying it for 3 years. So anybody who just showed up to watch this show or watch us to be all mad and cry and be all whiny, this is nothing new. We've been talking about this for years, that Rodgers is a problem, and he always has been a problem. And, well, not always. I take that back. There was a time,
well, first of
talked
all,
about it before.
You got to stop pointing the finger. And I'm talking to the leader of this team right now, Aaron Rodgers. Every time I see him on television or in an interview, it's all about what everyone else can't do. We got to simplify the offense, or these guys are making mental errors. Well, look, you got to take some ownership of this team, man. You got to stop pointing the finger and start talking about yourself and what you can do to help this team get better. Instead of rolling your eyes when a guy drops a pass or they do something wrong, how about clapping your hands and say, hey, man, you know what? Don't worry about it. Let's move on to the next play. I got you. I'm coming back to you.
Wow. Jago, you definitely have never watched our show.
Charles Woodson said it best.
Jago says that us guys are turning on 12. Dude, I turned on 12 3 years ago. My brother first turned on him last year, halfway through the year. I turned on him in 3 years ago. Jason's been turned on him for a good year now, bro number 2 there. So you don't know what you're talking about. And Zero, man, I don't know.
Zero, look
Zero.
at what rewatch that play. Look how I think Roger said, yeah, I mean, he should have thrown a little farther to Bakhtiari. But it's actually like 5 yards underthrown on the awesome like go to Bakhtiari play, 4th and 1. You got to have it. Everybody knows David Bakhtiari out in the flat is the number 1 play you should call right there. Who made that call? Was that really Matt LaFleur's decision? Was it really?
I don't know.
I want somebody to ask him, like, Matt, was that really
I want to know
your play call?
Your genius play on 4th and 1 when you need to score is to throw to your offensive tackle on a bum knee who's out for a year and a half. That doesn't sound like a smart call to me. I don't know.
Oh shoot. I don't know, Zero. I don't know.
Zero, don't you start. God dang.
I think this is his last year. I know he signed the contract, but I don't think he wants to come back. He didn't want to tarnish his legacy too bad at the end. He's seen plenty other guys do that, right? And this is how it ends for a lot of guys. You know, Favre should have hung him up after that great year with the Vikings, right? Where he came up short, but he was like, damn, I can't have my last pass of every team I retire from be an interception.
Yeah,
I just can't, because if you recall when he retired from the Packers initially, his last pass was an interception. That one hurt a lot. God damn it,
it's
Favre.
the Giants in the playoffs, NFC
And then
Championship, and the super cold when what's his face froze off.
And then his last pass is a jet was a pick, and then his last pass in the NFC Championship for the Vikings was an interception because they kicked a field goal after that and won. The other team, the Saints, but then he came back, and it was a big letdown, right? He was injured for like 6 or 10 games, only played a handful of games, didn't play that well when he was in there. And that was his last season, and he retired. You know, Joe Montana last season, not great. Bunch of these guys, bunch of these stories. Look at Tom Brady. Like, I guess he saved some money in, you know, his divorce or whatever, but I don't know what the hell the whole deal was. But anyway, like, he probably wishes he didn't come back either. Like, all these guys should just hung it up. Aaron, you're never going to match guys in Super Bowl wins. So he should have hung it up after last year and went out with back-to-back MVPs in the eyes of many and could have rode off into the sunset, and we would have started over and ran Matt LaFleur's offense and we could have seen if it works or not. I don't know. I'm interested to see if it'll work.
I don't know.
But you said Gardner Minshew and Taylor Heineke, if we can get them on the team.
Heineke, he's the reason why the Vikings won today. He threw a stupid, dumb pick. He almost threw a second pick if it wasn't for the ref. The ref got in the way and knocked over a Viking player, and then they end up scoring a touchdown on the play. He threw a deep 50-yard bomb to a guy who was triple covered, or at least double covered, and then a third guy coming on his way, and then the official got in the way and knocked over the one guy who probably would have intercepted him. So Heineke did a lot of dumb, boneheaded crap today. So,
you know what's interesting is Kirk Cousins. David brings up he'd rather have Cousins on the team right now than Aaron Rodgers.
I don't know if I'd want.
And Kirk Cousins is not having he's actually not even one of his best statistical seasons right now. But they're winning games, so he's doing what he needs to win in those moments. And sometimes, as a quarterback, that's handing it off and let the running back get the touchdown. You don't need to throw it on first down and goal from the 5. You know, you could just hand it to your 250-pound back. Sounds like a pretty good idea to me. And then, like, I don't know, people are so afraid. Heineke is fun to watch. I like him, and he might make some screw ups, but you know, then it'd just be kind of like having Favre again, sort of. So I don't know. If the team plays hard and they win games, I don't care. I'll live with the screw ups, I guess.
Yeah, Jigo, we talked about that. We talked about the Hawkinson pickup and how much we should have had the pickup, but Goody wouldn't throw in an extra pick, like a fourth
Yeah.
or fifth rounder to make it happen. But he'll gladly put an extra pick to move up and draft Jordan Love, or an extra pick to the Vikings to get Christian Watson for some unknown reason, or was it the Lions? I can't remember who they traded with to get that, but and then trade with extra pick to get Amari Rodgers, guys who were all unproven. Where Claypool is actually a proven guy. Okay, he's not as good as Travis Kelce. I mean, come on.
And a lot of, a lot of wide receivers changed teams in the offseason.
We got a Giants fan. Hold on a
Giants
second.
fan. Who's here?
Giants fan. Okay,
Jake?
this is something I've been talking about for years, Giants. Jake, listen to me, Giants
Jake.
fan. This is something I've talked about to Jason for years. He doesn't agree with me, and a lot of my friends don't agree with me. I've often said, as a Packer fan, I would have loved, to watch what the Giants did, to suck, right? And then come from out of nowhere and win a Super Bowl, and then suck, and then come from out of nowhere and win a Super Bowl, and then suck. But you won 2 Super Bowls and you enjoyed the ride. You were like excited and you were part of the whole, like the experience, like the whole thing all the way through to the ride, right? Rather had that suck for a bunch of years, but then had the 2 peaks of the Super Bowl wins instead of the Packers, where we just keep making the playoffs and making the playoffs and making the playoffs and losing in the playoffs and losing in the playoffs. And we can't enjoy the ride because we're expecting to make the playoffs every year. What's it like as a Giants fan? Is it heartbreaking to sit there and watch them suck for years and years and years after those 2 Super Bowl wins and in between those 2 Super Bowl wins? Or can you go back and remember how awesome it was for those 2 Super Bowl wins and what it was like to just kind of enjoy the great, like the ride, like the Vikings fans now, like Jago, dude, you guys are on a tear. You're 7-1, right? You guys are on an uptick. This might be your year. This might be the year where things are going right and you're feeling the excitement again. And the expectation is there, but it's still kind of out of the blue. 0.
Ben has said he would be fine with a trash team for like 5-6 years in a row. Or how often do you have to win a Super Bowl if your team's going to be horrible all the other years? Every 5 years,
Well, I mean, Super Bowl, that's
10 years.
That's pretty hard to do. I'd say once every 10 years. Yeah.
Once every 10 years, and they could be trash as long as like every 8 to 10 years they win.
The Giants have got 4 Super Bowl wins.
Yeah.
In the last, 30, 40 years? 40 years? Not even. Was it the 80s, their first year? I think they won 86, and then they won in
We're so damn old now. It's like the
89 or something or whatever. When
track.
was it? The first 2 Giant wins? The 2007, and they won in 2011.
0. Jordan Love's to blame. If he was better, then we could just have moved on. Corey we talked about that. It's the illusion that the Packers want to win the Super Bowl instead of doing what needs to be done to win it. Yeah, that's why they didn't trade for
Claypool, and they didn't. Yeah. But obviously now maybe it was the right move not to trade for Claypool because they knew that they sucked. I mean, you lose to a 1-6 team, you can't even score more than 9 points.
That's probably the part, though. Losing the game would have been one thing, but not being able to against a defense that everybody seemingly could do stuff against. You can't do anything against them. That's the more alarming part. So it just shows you that the approach that has been taken is not working. And that's what I wanted at halftime, because it was so bad for Matt LaFleur to take charge and say, look, we're doing it my way because your way ain't working. But he clearly didn't do that.
Nope.
And then we had more injuries, which complicated stuff even more. And then we still lost. Even though the defense didn't play that bad. So quit bagging on the defense, people who want to bag on the defense. I can show you the stats again, but 4.5 yards per play is pretty good. All right. Under 137 yards passing, just over 100 yards rushing to a team that runs the ball pretty damn well. Jamal Williams, 24 carries for only 81 yards, 3.4 per carry. That's not ripping it up. Anyway.
Well, let me tell you, Jake, the Giants.
What does he say?
But it's fun this year, though, right? They're not expected to win anything. You guys just got a new head coach. You don't even know if you got a good quarterback or not. But they're winning games because of good coaching. That's the other thing. When you have a good coach and you can see that there's good coaching going on and it's like competent, that's exciting because you know, hey, we get some good players on this team. Woo, look out. As a Packer fan, we don't know if we have a good coach. We have no idea because he can't even coach his own team because we got a stupid diva quarterback who takes over, does whatever the hell he wants half the time. We don't know. So I'd rather be you. I'd rather be a Giants fan right now. Look at the Jets. They beat the Packers, and now they beat the Bills. It's like they won the damn Super Bowl. They're going crazy, all their Jets fans. They're nuts.
I just want to know who was Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers was very very vocal and very visually frustrated today numerous times.
I don't know.
After he made crappy throws.
Well,
So I just
himself.
I'm hoping that was frustration in his own play and not, that he's casting blame on, oh, you should have ran that route shorter or slower, guy, so I didn't underthrow that one or whatever the hell. Anyway, I'm hoping that's what it was. But then he's on the sideline yelling, and Tom Clemens sits next to him, and I don't know what he's saying to him or what they're talking about. But, man, I'd love to get Tom Clemens drunk once, too, and get some answers. We'll have to see so we can arrange that.
I don't
Tom
know.
Clemens. All right.
But I'll say this.
Fair enough. Hey, the Jets, fair enough, Jago. Look at those guys. Hey, that's one other thing, Ben, that I want to ask you about.
The Packers showed them how to beat them. And the Jets did what the Packers did last week. And they beat them.
Look at all these. Also, the Jets had an injury to their rookie running back who's awesome. And what they do? They're
They
like,
traded for a guy.
let's get this guy who's good, who we know is actually good because he's been good in the NFL. And he's now secondary on the team he's on. Let's go get him. And they did. And he's good.
No. You got so many Viking fans in here. We should get Mo on here or whatever. What the hell? There's like
I know.
17 Viking fans on this.
I would expect the Viking fans to be.
Well, they like to watch us look like we suffer, but they don't understand that we don't like. Okay, we kind of don't.
Suffering for a while.
We've been suffering when winning because we have a quarterback that we hate. I said this a couple weeks ago. Like I can't stand. Like it's not fun rooting for a team
that doesn't run plays.
Well, no, like even when they're successful because. Like they have a successful play because the quarterback that I hate threw the ball. I hate him. I freaking hate him. Were my eyes opened by the film? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
When they drafted Jordan Love, was I an Aaron Rodgers fan at that time? I was starting to go on the downswing a little bit, but I still believed in him.
Yeah. And
it took a couple of years of watching the film and watching his demeanor in press conferences and how he seems to think he's always smarter than every single other person in the world. And he's a freaking dirtbag, jerk face, ass munch, I don't know. Another word you can think of that sucks. That's him.
Well, look at this. And I kind of said this before, but just consider that whole idea, Matt LaFleur's job role coming into the team, right? Many people have said this. Rodgers is not really that coachable because you can't come in as the coach and say, hey, this is my system. It works. We're going to do this. You have to prove it to him.
Yeah.
You have to convince him that it's going to work, and he's got to know the why for everything. And he's got to, so you're trying to come in and teach all these guys this offense because, the system is proven to work, and it brings guys like Jared Goff to the Super Bowl, and Jimmy Garoppolo gets to go to the Super Bowl when he's running the system. And Matt Ryan has an MVP season when he runs the system. And didn't he go to the Super Bowl too? Jesus Christ. You're telling me this system got Matt Ryan, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Jared Goff all to the Super Bowl?
It got Matt Ryan an MVP.
So
Matt Ryan, it got an MVP from this system, and Rodgers won't run it. So it doesn't make any sense.
He could be, and he has so much talent that if he were to just take to the coaching and run the system, he could be amazing. He could be far better than any of those guys in this system. But he had to take a step back and let the running game be featured in order for him to get to that successful point, and he's not willing to do that. But as a coach, you're trying to bring it in, and you have to convince him that your system is good and explain all the things why. And all it took was one season of him learning the system. He felt he knew more than his coach, and he said, we got to change this, let's get rid of all these things. Let's add these things in. And I tell him, there's problems with this system. You showed the clip. He said it publicly. I tell him, there's problems with the system. There's problems. Blah, 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 blah. So he thinks
he believes he knows more than his coach. That's right.
Than everybody. Not just his coach, everybody. Everyone in the world. And that's not fun.
I'll say this about Eli Manning. He is hilarious. Has anybody seen the Chad Powers thing he did where he dressed up? He looks like he's 45-year-old. He looks even older than he does in real life and trying to convince guys he's going to try out for the team or whatever, college team. He's hilarious. Eli is funny. He's so much funnier than Aaron Rodgers ever was. And Aaron Rodgers is always whiny because he always wanted to host the SNL and they won't let him do it because he has no charisma and he's not funny at all. Even though they've let, I think Eli's done it. I know Peyton's done it a couple times.
Lee's got us tanking now. Hey, look, Eli Manning has some of the greatest postseason throws in the history of the NFL.
Yeah.
He just has. So even though he's played like total trash a bunch of seasons of his career, he still has some of the best throws at the times you need him. So I don't know. What do you value more? I don't know. I don't know.
He's got more Super Bowls than Aaron Rodgers. I mean, what else can you say?
Lee says he did some scouting. It's time to tank. Got a tank for this wide receiver from TCU. We got to get in the top 10 for that. But
well, who's going to throw him the ball there, Lee? That's the question.
Danny Etling? Got Danny Etling coming around?
Because who knows if Jordan Love's any good? I don't know.
You can find somebody. We just need somebody that's willing to hand the ball off most of the time. Hey, here's the last thing I'll tell you. Last question. Another thing that makes me mad. All these people trying to talk about, the Packers just wasting these years of Aaron Rodgers' career. What about wasting these years of Aaron Jones' career?
Yeah, no kidding.
Why aren't more people mad about that?
I'm mad about it.
We've had this awesome dude on our team, and we don't freaking use him, and we don't feature him. And when we do well. And when we don't feature him, we suck.
Can't deny that fact.
Freaking Aaron Jones are wasting his career. You should be more pissed off about that as a Packers fan. I'll tell you that right now.
I'm pissed.
I'm pissed too. Stupid Packers. You know what? Who is in charge? That question. Know. Well, we know already.
But I mean,
we need the people that are supposed to be in charge to take some charge for a change.
They can't.
Dylan needs to get the hell out of town. No, he doesn't. We need Dylan. We need him because Aaron Jones can't carry it 40 times a game. But I'd love to see like Aaron Jones 20 carries a game and Dylan like 15 and just run the hell out of the ball, man. Let's go. Balance. If we had some balance, we could be great.
Aaron Rodgers is the owner.
Yeah. Yeah.
He makes the most money, which means he's the owner.
Get an owner. I know we need one. We need one, Jago.
No, we don't.
Actually,
you know what? The people of Green Bay to get at pitchforks and start freaking. Like I said, when they drafted Love, I thought for sure Goody would be in trouble. Like his house would get burned down and all these people go crazy.
Oh, geez.
Well, I thought it would be crazy. I don't know. Nothing happened. Oh, no. Okay.
Nah, they weren't that mad. He's just a guy. And he's a nice kid. And like you said, I'll say this about him too. He's dialed into the game. He's on everything. He's right there on the sideline next to the coach. He's like paying attention to everything the whole time. Got his helmet on the whole time.
Who?
Jordan Love.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
He's like ready to go. I mean, he's not just like normal backup quarterbacks who are like, oh shit, I'm behind Aaron Rodgers. I'm never going to get to play, blah, blah, blah. I mean, he's into everything. And he's talking to guys when they come to the sideline. He's helping out the young guys like Ben was pointing out. Like, I don't know if he can play well or not, but he seems like a good guy to have on the team. And I like him as a person. And he could be a good leader, like you mentioned. So maybe that's something.
Here's the thing, Packer fan, 1993. You say you think the Green Bay needs an actual owner. The only time that not having an owner is a problem is when you have a diva quarterback. So, like, when Brett Favre was young, it wasn't a problem. The leader of the organization was Bob Harlan, who got Ron Wolf in, got Mike Holmgren in. Then they traded for Brett Favre, and he wasn't the greatest quarterback of all time, but he was crazy and did a bunch of crazy stuff, and Holmgren was okay with that for the most part at first. But then when he wouldn't learn stuff, Holmgren's like, yeah, I don't like this. I want to get out of here. And he got out of there, went to Seattle, and took Hasselbeck with him, and then they got screwed by the refs in the Super Bowl, and it was bullshit. But anyways, when Aaron Rodgers was a young quarterback, he had a very good system around him. Bob Harlan and then moved to Mark Murphy were in charge. They had, Rodgers knew what his job was. He did his job. He worked hard. He worked hard in the offseason. He got with his guys. He got with guys to help him learn stuff. But gradually over time, Rodgers became more of the diva, got more control. McCarthy got lazy. which
Yep.
gave Rodgers even more control. Mark Murphy lost control of the team. Next thing you know, the salaries of these players have skyrocketed like way, a whole lot more over the last 10, 15 years, even in the 90s or the 90s and the early 2000s compared to what the GMs and the head coaches were making.
Mhm.
Now the star 10 times as much back or as much as his head coach. It's crazy sometimes. And because of that, Rodgers took over. So if you have a quarterback who's willing to know what his job is and do his job. I mean, here's the bottom line. Part of Aaron Rodgers' $50 million is the fact that he's supposed to be here working with everybody in all offseason, which he wasn't. He was hanging out doing whatever. He just said, oh, Randall Cobb's there. He'll teach them all what they have to know. They don't need me there. And then he showed up and then nobody knew what the hell's going on. And they tried to teach him it's just a big mess. But
yeah,
it's not the management. Oh my God. I don't know how else to say this.
I think Jago's just trying to.
I don't know.
Trying to rib us here and try to get us continue on.
They have no power because they've given it up.
Yep.
The fans. Here's the only good news is there have been more fans and more media and more national media who have finally seen the light, and Rodgers' play now has led to more people saying, what the hell's going on with Rodgers? Which could bring the balance back to the front office and the head coach if they are willing to take it. But they need to take it. But part of the thing of using Aaron Rodgers as the shield, because they use him as a shield too. There's no doubts.
That's true.
The floor won 13 games for 3 years in a row with a quarterback who played, and he doesn't get credit for it a lot of the time. A lot of times they say, oh, Aaron Rodgers won got him 13-3, 13-3, 13-3. But he was 13-3, and he knew his job security was pretty good. He was pretty secure, which is another reason why they wanted Rodgers back. They also both got huge contract extensions for like 5 more years, both of them, Goody and LaFleur, just this offseason. And that's because Rodgers was an MVP. Now, I don't think he played like he should have got the MVP, but he won them, and the fans loved him. So part of it is those guys want to keep their jobs. So they were like, okay, you know what? We'll just keep our job. I want to keep, because how many turnovers you see as coaches and GMs all the time? You see them get canned left and right. Look at the Browns, and some of these teams have a new head coach or a GM like every other damn year. It seems like, and these guys don't want to go through that. And when you have a stud quarterback who does run the team, as long as you are successful, semi-successful, you keep your job. And that's why it's never been, and Corey knows this, our cousin, he's been on here. He's talked about it in the past after they drafted Love. Their goal is not to win now. It's to win in the future. Their draft picks are always for the future. And that's why they want to keep their jobs. So they have to, that's part of it. But now the problem is this. They're not winning. And Rodgers' play is bad, but there's still enough people out there who blame Goody and LaFleur, and not just Rodgers. But it's their chance. If they believe in themselves, they need to take over the team now and be like, dude, this is what needs to happen. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, he thinks that Packers fan 93 thinks 12 is overrated. Think we would be good if we had Love in for a few years and build up a good old line and keep run first offense. Well, that's what we'd want to see if it could work. That's what we don't know. That's the unknown. And a lot of people are afraid of the unknown. And people have seen with, Favre to Rodgers quarterback play, that level of quarterback play, that's what we're used to. They think, oh my God, if you don't have that quarterback play, you're going to fall apart. Well, not if you have a system. Here's the other thing to think about. I do have to, before I get on to my other thing to think about is I do got to give this to Lee here. A pretty funny one here. 12 should have been doing reps with Bakhtiari because Bakhtiari ran his route too fast on that play, Ben, on that 4th and 1. That's probably what happened.
He probably didn't do enough.
That's a good one. But no, here's the thing that makes me feel I'm not concerned. I'm not afraid of the unknown. Mostly because look around the NFL. Look around the NFL. Is Jalen Hurts like a great quarterback? Hell no.
He's pretty good.
But he's mobile. He can run the system they have well, right? Because it's not It's not a drop back system. It's a RPO system. It's a user athleticism. It's a lot of rollouts and a lot of one read plays where he's rolling to a side, or maybe there's like 2 reads, but it's easy reads for him. And if it's not there, tuck it and run, dude, because you're young and you're fast. You're going to make a play. Is Tua an amazing quarterback? I don't think so. He has got kind of a weak arm, but you know what he does? He'll run around and make plays. He throws the ball on time. He hits his back foot, and a lot of times he lets it go.
And he throws it into tight windows sometimes too, which I was actually surprised. I was watching some film on him, and he does actually, like, he makes throws Rodgers would never make, even though he doesn't have even anywhere near the arm Rodgers has. He doesn't have anywhere near that good arm.
Because these guys aren't so fixated on their touchdown to pick ratio.
Right?
They're like, I'm throwing it because it's there. Is there a possibility something bad could happen? It could get deflected. The guy might not catch it. There might be interception. Yes. But there's also, if I don't throw it, there's a possibility that I'm going to get sacked in this play or nothing happens and we don't do jack squat in the game. So I'm throwing it. And there's a whole bunch of quarterbacks out there in the league that are not nearly as good as Aaron Rodgers at throwing the ball. And they're playing quarterback more effectively than him. They're leading their offense. They're scoring points. They're moving the ball more effectively than him, even though they're not even nearly as good at being a quarterback than him. So I'm not afraid. Just go find a young guy who's got an arm and can run around a little bit, teach him the system, and let's go. Make it easy for him, right? The coaching staff can adjust to a young quarterback to make it easy for him, right? Give him easy reads. Run the ball first. Run a lot of play action. Rollouts. If your line stinks, you can do all that stuff with a new young guy. Just give him a shot. I'm not afraid. It's not going to all fall apart. What is this? The Bears. Oh yeah, Justin Fields had like 170 some yards rushing today or something crazy.
He had a touchdown run today that was so awesome. I was like, holy crap! It was an awesome run.
They should literally, a bunch of their plays should just be like all streaks, especially if it's in man coverage, like all streaks, and then don't even think about throwing it. Just wait, let the guys get them downfield a little bit, create a little opening, and then take off and run. Like that should be the design of the play.
I know. Yes, David, I do remember that. We talked about it on our show.
What does David say? I'm not able to keep up. You guys are chatting away here.
He's talking about when Jordan Love made a couple awesome throws in the preseason, and then Rodgers said that he'd never make those throws because they're too risky.
Oh yeah. I would have never thrown it, but yeah, I mean it was a good throw. I would have never thrown it. Yeah, you gotta have the cojones to throw it. Yes, Lee, we pointed that out. Rodgers hit 100 INTs. So maybe now he'll play looser because he already hit the mark. So maybe he'll be like, you know what?
Yeah.
Let it rip, baby. He started off the game great. His first throw was on time, on target. It looked like they were going to do something. Of course, Romeo Doubs got injured and on that same play. God damn it.
That's the way it goes.
That's the way it goes. We'll take a closer look at some film. We appreciate you guys hanging out, chatting, making us stay on longer because you got so many good comments and so much banter back and forth, but that's all right. We got some stuff off our chest. We laid it out for you. It's all truth. And all the parts that are also opinions are backed opinions by observations. We don't just throw wild stuff out there for effect. It's what we observe and see and what we think.
Too many Viking fans.
No more skull in here. No more skull. We'll give it to you for just a second. Yeah, you guys are doing well. Nice mustache. Okay. All right. Well, we'll catch you on Wednesday night for actual film review where we can show what happened on certain plays in a much calmer way because we're not right after the game and mad.
I think we're pretty calm. I just lost at the beginning because I was so pissed.
I lost it. I lost it a couple times just because I'm so mad about a lot of things.
But it's part of me is like, well, I mean, we lost because Aaron Rodgers sucks. So I'm like, all right.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Did the Packers deserve to lose today? They did.
Aaron Rodgers deserved to lose. I don't know if the Packers did.
Yeah, but they also gave him all the power and all the ability to do whatever he wants, so they deserve it. Everybody,
Matt LaFleur and Goody and Rodgers deserved to lose today, yes. But the rest of the guys did not. Well, maybe Savage because he sucks.
Yeah, Savage does suck. A bunch of other good guys in the team did not deserve to lose, but That's what we got. So we lost 3-6. Does not mean the season's over. Packers could still have a chance if they can turn it around to make the playoffs, but we got to win a game first, right?
A game? I just want to win a game.
We got to win a
Playoff?
game against the
Playoff?
Cowboys. Those dangerous Cowboys.
It's
We'll
going to
talk
be
about it later.
interesting to see what happens. It's going to be interesting. Mike McCarthy is going to come in there with a big fat grin on his face, showing up on next week. I'll tell you that. And what will the Packer fans do at Lambeau if Rodgers and the offense can't score points in the first half or the first quarter?
They'll turn on them and boo their asses.
He could get ugly. Matt LaFleur better look out.
They'll boo their asses hard.
Look out. We're going to see a lot of teary-eyed Matt LaFleur at halftime. Because when the boos come raining down, his teary eyes will blend right in with the boo rain.
I'll tell you what, the Lions fans didn't boo their team, even though they stunk it up in the first half today. But, whatever.
Yeah, but they're used to watching crap.
I know. Packers fans, you might have to get used to it a little bit, at least the rest of this season. Hopefully it turns around. We'll see.
It's not about expensive. It's about being able to get them. Because the problem is they have a wait list that's like years and years long. The worst part is our grandpa used to have tickets and then he let them go, which sucked because he couldn't afford them anymore in the 80s. That was when they sucked, though.
Jago believes in us against the Cowboys, huh? All right. Well, thanks, Jago. We'll see how it goes.
Oh, you're crazy.
We got to find out how extensive Aaron Jones' injury is or how bad that is. He got hurt.
We got a Kylan Hill sighting today.
Kylan Hill, yeah, that's true. He looked pretty good.
I mean, he's the future running back.
Yep,
Aaron Jones is not going to be a Packer next year. So
next time you get pissed about wasting somebody's career, be pissed about wasting Aaron Jones' career.
Yeah, be pissed about that.
All right, you guys stay good, be good. Take care of yourselves. Wednesday night, the film, don't lie. The tape, don't lie. So we'll see what it says. See you later.